First question comes from Chris Solari.
Hey, Joey. Obviously, coming off of Saturday's game, you guys feeling pretty good. What have you seen thus far on tape? What have you seen from tape of Duke that maybe you can lean on from the last game to translate into this one?
I think they're a different team than Notre Dame was. We just kind of got into a little bit of film of Duke. We haven't watched a ton yet. That's something that we'll dive into today and obviously tomorrow as well. But it's Duke basketball. They're one of the best programs for a reason. So they're going to do everything well. I think defensively we can bring over that same energy that we had last game. I thought we played really well, especially rebounding the ball. But defensively, we can bring that same energy over and just kind of attack them. And we're more worried about ourselves than our opponent, but obviously we respect our opponent as well.
Our next question is from Kyle Austin.
Hey, Joey, obviously you've been recruited here a couple of times now. Wonder what the draw of games like this are when you're considering Michigan State, the fact that they always seem to be playing Duke in these really high-profile games like this.
Yeah, it's a huge draw. I want to play the best of the best, and Michigan State, they're going to be playing the best teams year in, year out. Coach Izzo, he wants to put his team up against the best. He knows that sometimes he might not win every single game, but it's a great test for his teams, and this is going to be an awesome opportunity. It's something that I haven't really got to play against Duke or Kentucky yet in my college career, so I came to Michigan State for that reason because I know they're always playing the best, and to be the best, you got to beat the best. So that's what coaches always harps on.
Our next question is from Lindsey Huddleston.
Thank you. Hey, Joey, after the Notre Dame game, both Tom Izzo and Aaron Henry talked about working with you to kind of get you ready to respond when you need to respond when things get really tough in the game. Can you talk about your relationship with Aaron Henry and how he's kind of helped you understand Coach Izzo's unique coaching style and being able to respond to him when he comes at you sometime?
Yeah, he's helped me a ton. I've seen Aaron grow as a player. Obviously, last year sitting out, I got to observe a lot of things. So, but he's really helped me this year, kind of building that relationship with Coach Izzo. It's different than other places I've been with a coach-player relationship. So, I think for me, myself as well, I just want to be, in those situations and games when they need to rely on me, I want to hold myself accountable, and I want them to hold me accountable and know that they can rely on me in those tough situations. So Aaron's helped me out with that. Coach has helped me out with that. And that's something that I want from myself as well.
Yeah, real quick follow-up. Now that you are actually playing, I saw you sit out, over the year or whatnot. When you're in the game, do you see the benefit of having been out, whether it's more time in the weight room, being able to watch the, players from on the sideline? What have been some of the benefits of you having sitting out?
Yeah, I really think everything. I worked on my body a ton, in the weight room conditioning. I think ball handling is something that I noticed right away. Coaches has always been on me about keeping my dribble low. When I'm grabbing a rebound, if I'm going to go right away with it and go on the break, he wants me to keep my dribble low and not turn over the ball. It's something I struggled with the first game, but I was just kind of getting used to the flow. So I think against Notre Dame, I really noticed that I was handling the ball a lot better. And then shooting is something I worked on, and I haven't made too many shots yet, but that'll come. It's got to get used to game speed.
All right, great. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Our next question comes from Brendan with The Impact.
Hey, Joey, you actually kind of just had a perfect segue into my question there. I want to talk about your shooting a little bit. Obviously, no three-pointers so far for you in the first two games. That's been a big part of your game since you've been in college. Is it just a slump for you? Are you not looking for as many shots? Have you just not found your rhythm yet? I'm just wondering what's going on there.
Yeah, I'd say a little bit. Haven't found my rhythm yet. I don't think I'm going to slump or anything. I'm not too worried about it. I think just getting used to kind of being back in the game and shooting the ball in a game is different than practice. So I was a little bit hesitant too, not looking for my shot as much. So it's got to be confident and shoot the ball without thinking about anything else and shoot it when I'm open. And they'll start to fall. I'm not worried about that.
Thanks.
Our next question is from Dalton Shedler.
Hey, Joey, I was a little bit curious, taking a look at some of the box score numbers from this last game against Notre Dame. You guys were able to out rebound them by 12. You had 16 boards yourself, 12 blocks, 9 steals. What's the ceiling, the potential of this defense? Because I think we got a pretty good taste of it in the last one.
Yeah, I think we're going to be a really good defensive team just because we're versatile. We have 4s and 5s that can guard other teams' guards. We have guards that are big enough to guard other teams' 4s and 5s. So I think versatility is the reason we're going to be really good defensively. I think the most important thing going forward is going to be rebounding. We've done a good job of that, obviously, last game, but I think that's going to continue to be a really important thing for our defense is limiting teams to one possession.
Our next question is from Stephen Brooks.
Hey, Joey. Have you ever been to Cameron Indoor down there, just visiting or playing AU, anything like that at all?
No, I've never been there, so this is going to be a cool experience for me.
Is it kind of a bummer that it's going to be empty, though, I guess? Because, you see it on TV and everybody makes it out to be this venue that everybody wants to go into.
Yeah, I mean, I'm bummed out there's no fans. It's going to be the same experience, though, just being there. It's a legendary place. So I'd like to be there where there's fans and kind of that hostile environment. That's something that I think I feed off well. But either way, going to bring the same competitiveness to the game.
Sure. And then I also wanted to ask you about your guys' assist numbers through these first 2 games. I don't have them in front of me, but it's almost all your field goals have come off of assists. What is it about this playing group, the makeup of you guys, that has led to that, you think? It's been a thing for a couple of years here now, but for you guys to continue it without Cassius and everything, what do you think has led to that?
Yeah, I think I just saw a stat about that. It was like 53 out of the 60 made field goals were assisted on. So that's pretty crazy. But I think it just kind of shows that. I mean, we really don't have 1 or 2 guys that are gonna score the ball every night and do it themselves. We're gonna move the ball around, and different guys are gonna chip in here and there. And we did a good job last game of getting guys in the right spot and their spots where they're gonna score. So I think going forward, obviously we don't have a Cassius Winston who's going to be one guy who's just going to be really good at distributing the ball to everybody. So we got to kind of take up that slack with different positions of guys.
Sure. Thank you.
No problem.
Next question is from Brendan Gwynn.
Joey, one thing we haven't really seen in the first 2 games here is a lot of your transition defense just because of the matchups that you had. How do you feel about the team's transition defense? Obviously, Duke's going to look to get out and go on you a little bit.
Yeah, that's something we've harped on a lot in practice. Yesterday, we was talking about how they're getting the ball and they're going right away. That's something we usually like to do to teams is defend, rebound, and run. So it's going to be good for us. But I think a lot of it has to do with conditioning, what type of condition that you're in. That's something we've worked on a ton. It's been harder with the shorter preseason or off season, whatever that we've had. So, but I think we're going to be in a great spot condition wise to be able to defend the transition and get out and run ourselves.
And Matthew Hurt, how much have you 2 cross paths over the years?
Yeah, I know Matthew Hurt a little bit. Obviously he's not from too far where I'm from, Minnesota, Wisconsin. I bumped past him a couple times, played him a couple times in AAU. So I know him a little bit, but we're not that close.
I didn't know because of the proximity if you guys had how many run-ins.
Yeah, we just kind of know each other.
And for you, I don't know if you touched on this earlier because I hopped on late, but what it means to actually kind of play Duke, and I imagine you grew up watching Duke on TV and things like that, and just kind of what this game means to you.
Yeah, I mean, Duke's been one of the best programs since I've grown up, and it's someone that I've always wanted to play against at Cameron Indoor. So I think it's something that guys have that game scheduled on their schedule most times when they're playing Duke. So it is a little bit more special, and considering just kind of the history between MSU and Duke that we've had here, it's a game that obviously we want to win, and it's a really important game to us.
Thanks.
No problem.
All right, we got time for one more question for Joey. It comes from Graham Couch.
Joey, did you watch the Michigan State win over Duke in the regional final? Do you remember where you were at that point?
I actually don't think I watched it. I didn't watch too many games. I think I watched the national championship that year, but I didn't watch too many games after we lost. I hadn't transferred yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
No problem.
All right, Joey, that's all we have for you today. Thank you.
Sounds good. No problem.
We'll have Malik call here in a second.
Dang, I feel alone in here now.
All right, we got Malik Hall up there now. We'll take questions in the chat. First question from Malik comes from Lindsey Huddleston.
Thank you. Hey, Malik, how you doing? I've kind of made a name for you and a few guys, the Getting Up Shots crew. After the game, I see Gabe come in, you come in and rock it and put up shots in the Breslin. You know, can you talk about what's the thinking behind that? Is just a natural thing just to put up a few more shots? Because it's kind of become a thing lately.
I know for Gabe and for Rock, it's been a long time thing. You know, Gabe's always in the gym. I always see him in the gym. And I actually saw someone post about it not too long after. And I was like, Gabe's doing it, I should be doing it too. So I kind of just followed his lead. And I went out there with Manny after, and we just shot a little bit after. You know, you can always improve on your game, and you could always, you know, shoot better. So I just wanted to follow his lead and try and do as much as I can to be a better player.
All right, great. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question is from Chris Solari.
Hey, Malik, wanted to kind of see what your feeling was of 2 games now without any fans, and what do you expect now with your first quote unquote road game with no fans? I mean, how do you prepare for that in a new environment?
I think it'll be interesting. You know, the first 2 games, it honestly wasn't that bad. The school I came from, Sunrise, we were a very small school, so we never really had a lot of fans. Like at most, we probably had like 40 people for our games, and the road games were just about the same, maybe even less. So, I mean, I'm used to kind of playing with nobody really there watching, and I think it'll be fun though. You know, when you have a team that everyone really cares about each other, the staff cares about the players, and the players care about the staff. I think it'll be a fun atmosphere. I think we've done pretty well so far with it just being us.
Is there any moments during a game where you kind of notice they're missing, and how have you guys on the bench and tried to elevate the energy level to maybe replace some of that?
We've actually had a lot of conversations. You know, Coach Iz always puts it in our head like it's only us. You know, like we're the only people there. So just try and cheer your teammates on as much as possible. And I think, you know, we love the Izzo zone, but also having them not there kind of shows how much your team is rooting for you. And when you have that behind you, it shows you like a different level of care. Like the people that you're with every day are there rooting for you no matter what happens.
All right, our next question comes from Kyle Austin.
Hey, Malik, just wondering, we've seen a lot of forwards play this year. A lot of forwards play well. What have you made of kind of the depth you guys have in your front court and in kind of that battle for minutes that you guys have going on?
Can you say that question again, please?
Sorry, just we've seen a lot of different forwards play this year. Obviously, play key a lot of minutes for you guys. Just wondering what you've made of the depth you guys have in the front court this year, and just kind of that battle for playing time.
Honestly, you know, for me, I never really paid attention to all that. You know, if there's somebody that's playing better than me or there's somebody that's playing better than another dude, you should want the best player to get the get the minutes, and whoever's producing the most should get the minutes. And I think it just kind of speaks to how good of a team we are, that we have a lot of people who can get on the court and impact the game in different ways and even in better ways. And I think that, it's a really good thing just to have this many people that are competing for minutes, because then it makes you want to be a better player and compete against, the people that you're going to compete with.
Our next question comes from Dalton Shetler.
Hey, Malik. Question to you is, with this upcoming game between Michigan State and Duke, of course, MSU is a team that likes to run up and down the floor, and I think somebody brought it up earlier that Duke is a team that likes to get in transition as well. What are you guys doing to try and prepare for Duke and the up-tempo play, and what is it maybe about them that you're most concerned with, or just trying to make sure you're prepared for the most?
We do a really good job with our scouts. And I think mostly just paying attention to everything that they laid out for us, as far as the scouting report says, we do transition defense 1 to 2 times every practice, just working on getting back and making sure that even if you're not matched up with the man that you're supposed to guard, you can, scramble around and get to the person that you need to guard. And I think it all has to do with just the scout that they lay out for us.
Our next question is from Brendan Quinn.
Hey, Malik. I don't know, was yesterday an off day? How much film have you actually watched at Duke?
Yesterday was not an off day. We watched film in the morning, and then we had practice. So far, I watched the film with the team, but I actually got here early, and I'm doing this, so I'm actually going to go watch film after this.
So far, what kind of jumped out to you personnel-wise of what they do?
I think personnel-wise, they have a lot of effective pieces, people who are really good at certain things of the game. And I think just being able to, lock into those certain pieces, we can limit them in a sense. And I think that'll be probably the thing that sticks out the most to me.
And what do you like about the look when you guys go a little bit small, maybe put Joey at the 5, put you at the 4? It's a different look for you guys. What do you like about it, and what are the dynamics at play there?
I think for me, what I like the most is, just being able to switch. I think that hinders somebody's offense to an extent, especially when you have 2 forwards that can guard guards, and then all you really have to worry about is maybe the biggest person in their lineup posting up a Foster or a Rocket, and that's where our help defense, comes into play, which I think is really good. I think it's a very big weapon that we have, being able to go low and being able to go big.
And what about on the offensive end?
On the offensive end, on versatility, being able to have our 5-man being Joey, who can absolutely shoot the crap out the ball, and having 3 guards in there along with 2 guys who aren't scared to get in the post.
Thank you.
All right, we got time for 2 more for Malik. We'll start with Audrey Dahlgren and wrap up with Brendan from the Impact. Audrey?
Hey, Malik. I was just wondering, in a year that's been so untraditional in a sense, how nice or welcoming is it to be able to still play this Champions Classic game against a team that's also usually always in the mix when it comes to this tournament?
I think it's very nice, there being things that we obviously can't do with the fans, and, traveling to certain places and being able to maybe walk around when we get somewhere. I think it'll still be nice to, have a little sense of normalcy and being able to play against such a high caliber team.
And what do you hope that your team gains from this matchup versus Duke?
Experience, just playing against someone of such a high level. We haven't done that yet. Usually we start off the year with that first game, and I think it'll be good just to, kind of open our eyes a little bit to a high level team and where we stand in the country, as far as being one of the better teams in the country.
Thank you.
Our last question, Brendan at the Impact.
Hey, Malik. So obviously 2020 has been a crazy year, and the schedule came together late, and basketball is always quick turnarounds, 2 or 3 days and then another game. But in a year like this with so much going on, and the games can change quickly. What do you do personally? I mean, your coaches and your staff are going to do stuff to get you guys ready, but what do you do personally to make sure, despite the quick turnaround, despite the 1 or 2 days off, you're ready for that next game?
I think this year, honestly, I've paid a lot more attention to my body and, how to give it rest, whether that's being able to like step away from all sorts of technology just so I can have time to talk with myself or, just kind of get to know how I'm feeling most of the time. Also, like stretching and recovery aspects. I think that's probably what I do the most to just, make sure I'm prepared for the next game.
Appreciate it, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Malik, that's all we have for you today. Thanks for your time, man.
All right, thank you.
Audio check. Can you guys hear me? I'm just wondering. I had to leave and come back in, having trouble with audio. Still can't hear me?
No, we can't hear you, Jim.
Can I get permission to record, please?
Jamal, you're all set. We should be joined by Coach Izzo here shortly.
Thanks.
All right, at this time we're joined by Coach Izzo. Coach, if you want to start us off with an opening statement.
Yeah, well, after looking at both games and seeing things, I caution everybody on two things. We did some things really well. We did some things really poorly, to be honest with you. But I was pleased from the first two games and what I saw. And it's been a unique season, as we all know. And I think our players have handled all the controversy and all the distractions about as well as you can handle it. We've rallied together. The togetherness of our team, the amount of bench strength that we've shown, the assists, 53 assists and 60 baskets shows that we're really playing together as a team. I thought we played very well for most of that Notre Dame game, even though we didn't finish quite as well. But we mixed a lot of guys up over the first two games, and we got some play. You know, Aaron and Joey were pretty solid both games. Gabe, Rocket, Malik, Foster was very, very good that first game and played okay the second game. I still think you're going to see a little more to Marty and Julius. You know, Julius played pretty well, and Malik and Thomas have, Thomas Kithier and Marcus have been very solid. So I think, you know, we're off to a good start. But what you don't know is, number one, how was Duke? How was Eastern Michigan? You know, you saw Oakland last night. They were, you know, coming off 14 days. You just never know how everybody's going to respond. And that's where some programs are talking about the COVID or saying when they had it. Some people aren't. So, you know, was Notre Dame, did they have a couple guys that had been out? I don't know those things. So I want to caution everybody to say this. This is going to be a 6-7 game, you know, really until we get a good feel for not only our team, but the teams around us. And yet getting off to a 2-0 start, I think was big for us. As far as Duke goes, you know, we're excited to play Duke. You know, there's no secrets that I've not had a lot of success against them, but they've just about always been very good games. And to be very perfectly frank, you know, they've had a very good team 90% of the time we played them. It certainly is different Champions Classic day. Normally we're playing in those neutral sites. This time we're going to Cameron, and but I think it's the right thing to do. I have very much confidence in the way Duke handles their business as far as the COVID situation, and I have very good feel on the protocol that we have here at Michigan State. And so we have to learn to adjust. You know, it's different because it's a different year. It'll be different playing at Cameron without fans, just like it's different for Notre Dame to play here without fans. I think we have two of the best basketball fan base, student bases in the whole country, and it'll be different, but it's still Cameron, it's still Duke, and that's what we got to make sure we tell our players. In Duke, it's a very young and talented team, but unlike a lot of years, they do have some experience. The Goldwire kid played very well against us last year. So did Baker. He's back. Hurt is back. You know, a guy that was looking to leave earlier. And Wendell Moore creates a lot of problems at a 6'5" athletic kid who's done very well. You add to that a talented freshman group, especially Jalen Johnson, who we recruited a little bit out of Milwaukee, and DJ Stewart out of Chicago, who, you know, Johnson had 19 points, 19 rebounds in the first game, and Stewart had 24 points. So very effective players, very good players, along with some veterans, and of course, you know, one of the more well-coached teams. So I think it's a perfect time for a matchup like this. What it'll tell us, you know, I think it's too early. Again, the sample size isn't big enough yet, but it gives us a good example to play against good people and see where we are. Questions?
First question is from Chris Solari.
You kind of alluded to it. I kind of wanted to see, how did this all come about? How was the discussions to get this game at Duke? And also, how do you prepare your team for not only a new environment, but a completely empty environment?
Well, you know, I mean, our guys are playing in front of an empty environment here. Most of our guys haven't played at Duke. So the environment's not going to change what it is here, what it is there, except that, you know, it's Duke, and there's a mystique with Duke, and it's been earned, not given. And, you know, and hopefully that's, you know, getting to be our place too. But, you know, we're telling our players that, you know, we got to go down there and worry more about Michigan State. Yeah, we're going to worry about Duke, but we got one game to watch them in. A lot of those new guys, we got to worry more about what we do and stay fundamentally sound in our cutouts, our rebounding, our not turning the ball over, our transition defense. So I'm not making a big deal. I'm not trying to change a lot of things. We're just going to go down there and play our best and see where the chips fall.
And what about the discussions that you guys had with you, Mike, and the staffs of moving this Champions Classic to a campus site?
Well, I give Kevin Polga a lot of credit for that. I should give him blame since we're going to Duke, but I think it's the right thing because, the ACC Challenge game that we're playing, it was on the road, but we were supposed to play in the Gavitt games at home. So we're trying to balance our schedule. And Duke, felt comfortable. I think Mike would have played up here too. But again, we're trying to balance that schedule. So it was definitely agreed upon, but I think KP did all the work and deserves a lot of the credit for not only our scheduling, but a lot of people's scheduling. He's done an incredible job over the years. And this was agreed upon by Mike and I. You know what? It's going to be good. We need to go on the road some. We're going to have to get used to that atmosphere and everything. And that's what we're going to do. So perfect, no issues, perfect situation.
Next question is from Larry Lage.
Hey, Tom.
Hi, Larry.
DJ Stewart, he had 24 points in his debut, and he's from Chicago. Just thoughts on his game, and did you recruit him much, if at all?
We looked at DJ, played for a coach that's a friend of ours over there, but he committed so early to Duke, and rightfully so. We did recruit Jalen Johnson a little harder and out of Milwaukee, but both players are very good players. And as you say, Stewart was exceptional in the first game, hit some threes, did some driving, was 10 for 18. That's a lot of shots for a freshman to take. Jalen Johnson, on the other hand, kind of like a miniature Magic. He distributed the ball, he rebounded the ball, he scored the ball, he hit a three. He's one of the more complete players I think they've had as far as being able to do a lot of different things. And we loved him in high school, and he's turning out to be every bit as good as I thought he was. And yet one game, we'll see how he does. Hopefully we can guard him a little better. And but both players are very good, but I think it's their veteran guys that you can't lose sight of, because I think defensively their veteran guys make them better.
Next question is from Audrey Dahlgren.
Hey, Tom. I was curious to ask some of the players this, but to be able to still play Duke in a year that's been very untraditional when it comes to non-conference schedule-wise, how important is that, and how nice is it to kind of have some bit of normalcy still playing, a coveted team in a tournament that's as coveted as the Champions Classic?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. The Champions Classic has been something that we've been a part of now for 10 years. And I think it's very important to college basketball, but very important to Michigan State basketball. I mean, these are 4 programs that have been to a lot of Final Fours in the last 10 years. And thank God, I think we lead in that area. So we've earned our right to be in this thing. But Kansas, Kentucky, Duke, I mean, they're all great, great programs. And I think it is good that we can play this game. I think it's good for college basketball. I think it's good for Michigan State and Duke basketball. And I think our players are excited to be able to play in something like this. And as you say, different setting, but keep them normalcy. And that's going to be very important for all of us.
And then how much weight has Malik Hall put on, like from a muscle standpoint from last year to this year? Because he looks a lot bigger. And then also, how important will that be for him going forward and what you're trying to do this year?
Well, I think that's a great point. And, believe it or not as much weight as muscle. Cut his body fat some, but he is stronger. He's starting to look like a miniature linebacker, and that's good for us because he's athletic. He can guard multiple positions. He can shoot the ball. He had some injuries early too, but he's starting to come back into shape. And I think Malik Hall is going to be, one of many keys for us. But I think he'll be at the point where he can guard some threes. He can guard some fours. We can do a lot of switching with him. So he's a valuable asset because like an Aaron Henry, guys that are multi-dimensional can cover a lot of positions, can play a lot of positions, I think are key. And because of his added strength and, as you say, his quickness is improved and everything, he can now guard guards along with guarding bigs because he's strong enough to guard a big and quick enough to guard a guard. And that's going to benefit us a lot.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Lindsey Huddleston.
All right. Hey, Tom, staying with that theme on the Champions Classic, which always has that Final Four vibe, which of course brings out the NBA scouts in droves, which you're very used to. I'm just curious, is there a balance you have to strike with always preparing your team to compete for a national championship, but also cultivating those NBA opportunities that your guys get? Or is it one and the same? Competing for a national championship is the best preparation for these guys going to the NBA?
You know, Lindsay, I think it's both, and I think I'm aware of both. And I don't hide behind that. Sometimes I feel like I talk about the NBA too much, but you and I both know what every player's dream is. You know, what I'm trying to do is get that balance to make sure that winning a championship is just a hair more important at the time than getting to the NBA. And if you sell it that winning helps get you to where you want to go, then it's a good deal for both sides. And I think sometimes we're in this one and done where everybody's just coming to get to the NBA. And I really appreciate all my guys, from Jaren Jackson to Miles Bridges lately to Xavier and Cassius. They kept their eye on the prize and the goal, and yet they had their personal goals. And I strive that a lot, Lindsay, to have team goals and personal goals. And I'm hoping that if you're really good on your personal goals, it's going to help the team. And if you're really good on your team goals, it's going to help the person, because teams want people that come from winning programs. So even though there will be NBA scouts watching by the droves, as you said, they won't be there in person in this time, but they will be tuned into that TV. Tuesday night's a big night. It's always been a big night. As you know, when it's the four teams in the same place, it's probably the most watched game other than a Final Four. And I don't see this night being any different. And that's great for our program and our players.
Great. Thank you for that, Tom.
All right, Lindsay.
Our next question is from Matt Charbonneau.
Hey, Tom, you referenced earlier your record against Duke, and it's one of those things people know about and talk about. When it comes to your players, did they pay any attention to that at all? I guess what I'm asking is it difficult when you're playing a team like Duke to not let them get all caught up in who the opponent is or what things in the past have gone like, and kind of focus on just this game? Is that tough to do, and does it change at all this year with the environment you're going to be going into?
Well, I thought Duke did an unbelievable job last year after we beat them the year before, and coming back here and beating us here. And we're trying to look at the same thing. It should be a rivalry, and a rivalry is not a great rivalry unless, teams are balancing the wins and losses. There's been no secret. I don't hide behind it. They've gotten the best of us more often than not, but they've had pretty damn good teams too over those years. And I think a lot of times we're at neutral sites. We've actually played down there more than they've played here. But I don't think players get caught up in that as much. I don't think they worry about what happened. I told them, worry about what happened last year. We got punched in the mouth last year. And it's kind of our turn to repay the favor. And if you're a good team and a program as good as ours now, you shouldn't get caught up in the aura of Duke. You should respect them like you do Kansas and Kentucky and Carolina and teams like that. But you shouldn't get caught up in it. And I hope that, I do a better job of that. I hope they do a better job of that.
And are you okay with it? Feels everyone knows for big games, you get, whether it's football, basketball, you get really fired up for those big games. Do you encourage that from the guys, or not so much hey, Eastern's the same as Duke? Do you?
No. Yeah. I'm more of a realist than that. So I know there's bigger games than others. Coach talk, they all count one. Who's kidding who? I think players, coaches, media, everybody knows there's bigger games. I think the problem I've had over my career a little bit started with Michigan when I started here. You get so fired up and you get so there's almost hatred, and that's not healthy. Respect is healthy, and being fired up is really healthy. But I think still, and especially in the game of basketball, you've got to keep somewhat of an even keel. And I think we're mature enough now that we understand that. I've matured over my years. It's taken me a long time. I have a better feel for that. So I'm hoping we're really fired up, but I'm also hoping that we respect and don't fear our opponents and whoever we're playing.
Our next question is from Brendan at the Impact.
Hey, Coach. So obviously you talked about the rivalry between you guys and Duke, and the teams change over the years, but the two meetings prior to this upcoming game, the teams were fairly similar from that Elite Eight game to the game that was played last year. But this year, both teams are led by very different squads. So I'm just wondering, just from the early goings of what you've seen, how do you like how you guys match up against them right now?
I do like the matchup. I think we match up just about at every position. You know, I think Jalen Johnson's a heck of a player, and yet we've got enough bigs to I think match him. I think our guards, you know, I think Goldwire has been a thorn in our side. He's very, very good defensively, solid player. Stewart has played very well. Moore's been a guy that's been through the rivalry. Hurt is kind of an X factor guy, you know, and who was the other kid last year that really hurt us? So they've got some guys on that team that have hurt us in the past, but I think matching up wise, maybe we have a few more bigs and they have a couple more guards. They can go with 3 small guards at times, but I think we're athletic enough to deal with that. And so I think it's going to be a hell of a matchup, and maybe I think one of the better games on paper, in the first half of the year. Hopefully it'll turn out that way.
And a quick follow-up. Obviously, you're known for not being afraid to mix up the lineups, and we've seen you do that so far this year with a bunch of different guys getting in there involved. Do you expect to do the same thing against Duke?
I do. I expect to play 9 and 10 and leave 11 guys. And the reason is for that, I've stated earlier, number one, I think our depth is an advantage for us. But I think more importantly, in the big picture, and looking at big picture guy now, the days of just trying to win a game are over. Trying to win a game and get better for the end of the year. And so in doing that, I think in this COVID season that we're in, unfortunately, you got to prepare for the worst at times. And having some depth is going to be very critical to a lot of teams as we all move forward. I don't want to be caught like Denver with no quarterback, So everybody's going to have to play a little bit, get their feet wet. And I love the way we've practiced. I love the camaraderie. I think, it's hard because some guys are only playing a couple minutes and some guys are playing more. But right now we've had a pretty good rotation. And, that'll always shrink up as the year goes along some. But this year it might not, just because of the situation. So I plan on keeping it the same. We'll play a lot of guys and see if we can wear some people down.
Thanks, Coach.
Our next question is from Kyle Austin.
Hey, Tom, a couple quick ones for you, if I might. First of all, with travel this year, are you guys keeping things the same, or are you doing day of or making any other adjustments?
No, we're going down tonight because the deal we have with Duke is the same that the teams have with us. We tested this morning. We'll test tonight when we get to Duke, and we'll test in the morning. And I think they got a very good system there, and we've got a good system. And I think so we will travel the night before the game. I think the biggest issues you have is the hotel and the servers and things like that. The more people that get involved, the more people. So we're trying to close that up the best we can. Tomorrow we will shoot at the arena. There's no shooting the night before the game. We'll shoot at the arena that day, and we'll play that night and fly right home. So, like I said, I like our protocol. I like what our university has done with that and our medical people, and feel very comfortable with it. And I feel very comfortable with Duke's. And I think that's why, Mike wanted to play this game too, is I think he feels comfortable with us. We feel comfortable with them. Let's play the game.
And then you've worn the mask now for 2 games coaching. How has that been? And have you been able to communicate the way you want to?
Awesome. You guys can't see what I'm saying. Media can't see what I'm saying. And most importantly, my mother can't see what I'm saying. So it's been absolutely awesome. I haven't really noticed it that big a deal, guys. It's like I said, when I started the mask campaign, I've proven it that I wear it in public. I wear it in private when we're in our meetings. And I wear it coaching. And is there a little bit of a difference? Yeah, but I think, the people that like it the most are probably the referees and the people, maybe the players. But in all honesty, you can get your point across and you can talk and you can pull it down if you really have something to say. But I think I've kept it on. I've done a pretty good job, so I'll pat myself on the back. But it hasn't been that big of a issue. So people that act like it's a big issue to wear a mask, wake up. it's not that big of an issue. If we can do it while we're coaching, I've seen some leagues, referees are doing it. I think people in general should do it, and we get out of this pandemic and start moving forward.
Our next question is from Brendan Quinn.
With Duke not really having traditional big lineup, traditional center, obviously Johnson's 6'9", but they're maybe a little bit smaller than in years past. I wonder if this is a good time to lean into that look with Hauser at the 5 and Malik at the 4, and what you've thought of that so far this year.
Well, the beauty of our team, and first of all, congratulations getting your Christmas tree up a little early. That's impressive. But I would think that one of the strengths of our team is we could go real big. When I say real big with Markey and Mahdi, we can go small with, Joey and Malik. I think that's one of the advantages. We could even move Aaron to the 4 or Gabe, and I think that's an advantage. Where it's a little bit of a weakness for us is they probably got more numbers of guards, and that's where the advantage of Malik being able to play the 3 some and being able to guard those kind of players. I think this is where our depth and our versatility helps us. It'll be interesting to see how it goes as the game goes on, to be honest with you. But I like the fact that we're multidimensional, and I think you look in our league and we got about 3-4 teams that are huge inside. And, and then we play some teams that aren't, playing Eastern Michigan that had a 6'8" center that could really handle the ball, gave us a chance to guard off the dribble. I think, Notre Dame had a 4-man who could really shoot the ball. So I think we've had a little bit of tests here, and I think that's going to help us as we move forward.
And neither of your first 2 games were particularly up-tempo. How do you feel about your transition defense without having really seen it in terms of?
I'd say that's a fair question. I thought Eastern would, tried to run a little bit. I think our transition defense is something we're working on because I think Duke will. They don't run after made baskets, but I think they will run. And that's where Jalen Johnson is really good. He'll get a rebound and go with it. And so we're going to have to deal with a 6'9" center that's bringing the ball up some, but I think we spent time on it yesterday. We'll spend time on it today. I think we'll be ready for it, but I think transition defense and not giving up easy shots will be a big part of this team. I mean, they've got some shooters, but they don't have maybe the typical Duke shooters that are making threes from everywhere, and yet that's after 1 game sample. So like I said, there's so much we don't know. I mean, we're going back and getting high school film. We're getting AAU film. That's the problem with this kind of a setup. But, everybody's got to do the same thing. Now, for us, we have a few more veterans and at least places they can get film. They don't have to go to AAU ball. We did, and we have. And I give my video guy, Drew, a lot of credit, my assistants. We think we're well prepared, but it's different. And as you say, when you see it on the court.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you too, man. I'm a little disappointed. I got to get on my wife, get my Christmas tree up. I don't know what the hell she's doing.
Our next question comes from Ernie Boom. Ernie, you're muted.
So, can you hear me?
We got you.
We can.
Okay, good. This old party has trouble with technology.
I'm with you, Ernie. Me and you, man. I'm with you on that.
Tom, he had a lot of blocks on Saturday, and several of them came not from the guy guarding, but from help. Is that something you've worked on, or is that just something the guys have decided they're going to do?
I think we are a very good help defensive team. That's in our theory. We're not in the passing lanes team. We've always been a good, guard the gaps, help out on defense a little bit. And I thought most of the time we did it like Aaron did a couple times, and he didn't take chances. I thought we were pretty solid because sometimes you take some chances and you go for blocks, and then they get offensive rebounds, and that hurts you. But I thought it was pretty calculated, pretty solid. It's going to be a different kind of team we're playing this time, a way more athletic team than Notre Dame. Probably doesn't shoot it as good as Notre Dame, but more athletic than Notre Dame was. So it'll be interesting to see how we handle that. We did have a lot of blocks, a lot more than I thought we'd have. I'm not sure that's part of our DNA. I hope we get a few, but I'm not sure we'll get that many.
Okay. All right, our next question comes from Justin Rose.
Hey, Tom, any interest in taking over the Lions? Kidding.
Am I? You know what? I'm going to pray they get somebody really good in there, and I know it won't be me, and I really do. I pull for our teams. I feel bad for Matt and everybody there, but I think I've said this all along. It's the Michigan State rivalry. It's healthy for our state. Lions, Tigers, Pistons, and Red Wings, when they're good, it's healthy for our state. And big picture, I love our state. So go Lions. That's feel bad for Matt, but I'm hoping they find somebody that'll maybe help take it to another level.
You're just watching the first two games. Your team looks pretty good from my estimation. Are you ahead of schedule, at schedule, or behind schedule at this point?
It's a very good question, and I don't have a very good answer because I don't know where Eastern was. I don't know where, Eastern was missing a couple of their big guys, which I think hurt us a little bit, but we had a guard different, but I think it'll help us in the long run. But maybe it hurt their team, Notre Dame, I don't know what their situation is. They were a little more closed about what their situation was. But, most of the guys that played were guys we thought would play. But, were guys sick earlier? Were they not? Those are questions we don't know. So we not only have to figure out where we are, but it's hard to compare that because we don't know where they are. And that's why I said the sample size this year won't be 2 or 3 games. It'll be 6 or 7 games. And but I do like what I'm seeing out of my team. We're playing hard. We lock down defensively part of that time. Staying focused and maybe attention to detail as we get a lead in that. It's been a little bit of a problem for us. But part of that is, too, I'm playing so many guys. And like I said, I think that's going to benefit us in the long run, but it sometimes hurts you in the short run. And also realizing that, yes, we have some veterans, but when you got a Joey and you got a Josh that haven't played in a couple of years, there's going to be, it's going to be a little roadkill to get us back on track a little bit. So we've got to just continue to move forward and realize that the culture of our program, we still got to be able to defend, we still got to be able to rebound, and we still got to be able to run. And I'd like to add, we got to do a better job of turnovers, and I've said it. So if somebody wants to rip me, you're right. It's something I haven't done a very good job of over the years. I think we did a pretty good job most of that Eastern game and a real good job most of the Notre Dame game. But if we're going to be a great team, I think we got to get those turnovers down to 10, 11 and be consistent with it. And when that starts happening and yet understanding playing a lot of people isn't conducive to less turnovers, playing guys that haven't played a lot in a couple of years and wanting to get it all back in one game. Those are all things I'm going to have to live with for a little bit. But I'm comfortable in my own skin on what I'm seeing and what I feel. And so it's gone pretty well. And after 2 games, I'm pleased with our team. That could change tomorrow night quickly.
Thanks, man.
And we'll wrap it up with a question from Rico Beard.
Hey, Tom. Sorry if I jumped in late, so sorry if you've been asked this question already. But do you feel like maybe there's an advantage or a disadvantage for you later in the year with no student section? And does this help your team in getting prepared for the tournament?
Well, it's a very good question. I didn't think of it that way, but I think you're onto something there. What it's done is it's brought our team closer. When you look in a locker room, you say, this is it. This is us. We got to bring energy. We got to bring some chants. We got to bring some cheering. We got to bring some togetherness. And I'm hoping that second semester we wake up around our country and learn how to handle this thing a little bit better than we've done. And if we do that, I think we'll get some fans back. And then it really becomes an advantage for us because we've had to deal with it without. We know we have one of the better home court advantages, although the Big Ten, there's a lot of teams with good ones. And but I think it has helped our team come together. And I give our team a lot of credit. I really do. They've done an incredible job of maybe pulling for one another and cheerleading. And I give the NBA credit because showing them tape of LeBron doing it and different guys like that, if those guys can do it, we can do it. So I think, it's something, if we can get through it, Rico, I think it becomes an advantage for us because then you add students and then maybe all of us are on the same page. But in the meantime, we just got to keep doing our job.
I'm sure you won't be missing the Camp Crazies, Carl.
Won't be missing them, but then again, I guess in a little way I will be missing them because, you know me, I like playing in the atmospheres that are world renowned. And there's definitely, when you go to Kansas or Kentucky or Duke, to me, when you go to Michigan State or Purdue or some of these arenas around here, those are iconic things, you know, and you want your players to get a chance to do that. So when I say I won't miss them, I'm probably lying. I will miss them because I think they do a great job there. But it makes it a little more level playing field, home and away. But you're still going to go to Duke. You're still at Cameron. And you got to play your best basketball to win.
Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome.
All right, and that's going to wrap us up for today. Coach, appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks to all of you. And I don't know if you guys travel on this thing or not. Probably not, because I don't think anybody's allowed in there. But tune in, and hopefully we'll play well, and we'll talk to you when we get back. Thanks a lot, guys.